Good morning, York Depot. This week's training, just like this week, is going to be short. So if I don't see you, I hope you have a great short week and a wonderful day or two off for an Easter break. So the mission of Faithful Transportation is that every student feels valued and has a safe run. The three core values that we live by are number one, safety, number two, professionalism, and number three, connecting first. The last few trainings have been a deep dive on the foundations of connecting first and connection. So today we are going to review those, the three of those lessons, and give one more short one to set you up for success and for the skills we're going to learn moving forward. So let's review. Number one, you are not only in charge of the safety of your van, the cleanliness of your van, the timeliness of your van, and your professionalism. You are also in charge of connecting first with the students. So lesson one, we talked about the analogy of the string. So your connection with each student is a lot like a string where there's an anchor point on you and an anchor point on the student. And your job every single day is to send out that connection string, and that student can pick that up or drop that of their own free will. But once they pick that up, each day your job is to make that string just a little bit bigger. So that was lesson one, is to keep on connecting that string and building that string up. Lesson two, we talked about forgiveness. Now, I want to remind you about this lesson that it's a completely internal process. This is not something when you're going through the process of forgiving a student after they've had an incident. It's not something that you tell them, tell the parents, tell the school. It's just an internal process that's going to set you up for success. Your student shouldn't even know that you did this. They should just be able to feel the results. You forgive the student by welcoming them back on the van using that faithful transportation greeting. Hi, Johnny. I'm so glad you're here today. And you know that you've forgiven that student if you are able in your heart to wish good things to happen to them. If not, then you are kind of in prison internally yourself and wanting to punish the student and trying to keep that student in prison as well. So the antidote, if you're not feeling it, is to try again. Try to forgive from your heart again. And secondly, fake it till you make it. Sometimes you have to fake that feeling, but you have to fake the behavior of forgiving someone before the feeling comes. Last week's lesson was after an incident, after you've forgiven someone in your heart, how do you reestablish boundaries? Because it's not good enough just to forgive them and say, hey, come back on, nothing's changed. We do need to reestablish boundaries because our top priority is not connecting first. The top priority is safety. So how do you reestablish boundaries? Number one, establish the boundaries before the student gets on the van and develop those boundaries as a team. So develop them with Andy and in conjunction with the transportation directors, with the students teaching team. Develop those boundaries as a team, because at the end of the day, you are not a lone ranger and you're not the one really that's going to be enforcing those boundaries or any consequences that student has. So once you develop those boundaries, that next day you pull up to the student's door, greet that student with a warm welcome, very quickly and kindly articulate the boundaries, and then follow that up with presenting something positive. Sticker, radio choice, whatever. It's your job to know the student. You should know what could potentially motivate them so that we can get them on the van. They know their job. They know what they need to do. They also know that they are welcomed and warmly treated on the van. The last final part of this recipe is consistency. Consistency. You can't do this just once and expect it to work. These things have to become part of your daily practice, especially with students that are difficult. With 90% of the students that you are transporting, the lessons that I just shared with you are a little bit of overkill, because you just don't need to employ those skills. But for the students that need it, these are necessary skills. When working with difficult students, your ability to be consistent with what we just discussed will be the determining factor as to whether or not you are going to be successful transporting these students both to school safely and to make sure they are valued. So now that we've kind of dug this deep foundation, we'll begin to talk about specific skills that you can use to connect with students while you're driving them safely. Thanks for coming along on this deep dive and even having some patience while we discuss some topics that you may not think directly impacts your job as a driver or an aide. But it's only on this deep internal foundation that the skills that we give you will actually work. If you use these specific skills that you'll be learning in the next few weeks, but inside of you still can't stand the student, or you wish you wish the student wasn't on the van, these skills probably don't work. If you use these skills on top of a foundation of someone who genuinely wants the best for the student and is warmly welcoming the student, the probability of success, I will not guarantee success, but the probability of success is way higher. Again, thank you for coming along, and I look forward to next week, where we will look at the specific skills that you can use to both connect with the student and ultimately manage their behavior on the van to safely transport. Have a great week. Have a great break if I don't see you. And thank you for everything you do every day.